He's calling Lindsey Graham and McConnell
He's calling Mitch
uniparties.
McConnell a liberal Republican?
Are you kidding?
That's got to be one of the most insane, wrong things that's ever come out of Tucker's mouth.
You guys
Holy
in chat are hearing
fuck.
this. We're not mishearing this, right? He's calling
No.
McConnell and Graham.
We double checked it.
It's like, this is so off base. It feels like he's going even crazier because fucking MTG's here.
Yeah.
I feel like he's really pulling out all the stops for his girl Marjorie.
Yeah.
Because, like, that's insane even for Tucker to say.
It's the Casey and Zoe thing.
Well, back to Marjorie Taylor Greene. So she didn't even say anything yet. She just got on the camera.
Okay, so we'll hear what...
Let's get her there. Because we were talking about her makeup. And then we stopped. All right, so let's make us tiny.
Complimenting her makeup.
That's right. We were talking shit about her face.
Was it a backhanded compliment? Maybe.
Yeah. Her face is the problem. The makeup was the solution. And I know everyone's like, oh, don't body shame. No, you can body shame fascists.
Because that's to me is like, there's nothing, like what makes Marjorie Taylor Greene ugly to me has nothing to do with the physical construction of her face. It's the vibe that comes out of her face and her eyes. She's scary and creepy and insane and cruel and bad.
There's nothing good about Marjorie Taylor Greene. And at least
to me, that makes a person visually ugly.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah.
For me. Just as when I think when a person's got like an awesome vibe, I don't, I'm going to think they're like at least somewhat attractive, regardless of what they look like.
Since we've been doing this show, I feel like less and less inclined to like sleep with Republican moms.
Nice.
They're getting less hot to me.
Making progress.
The more I'm watching this like Jill bitch on PragerU, like she was so hot at first, and now I'm like, she's just getting uglier and uglier. Anyways.
For coming
Thanks
on.
for having me.
So you were
Dumb bitch.
16.
All right, sorry.
A student.
Let's turn her.
I just look into her eyes and I'm like, bleh.
Look at him! Ugly.
Shows up with a gun. It must have been a horrifying experience. What did you learn from that?
Well, what I learned is I never, ever want to be in a situation where the only person with a gun is the one that's out of their mind, crazy, intent on killing people. It was the worst thing that could have happened to any of us, and it was terrifying. There was no adult there with a gun in our school because our schools had turned into gun-free zones. This is because of Joe Biden and the crime bill that they passed back in 1990. Well, the scariest thing about it is our parents were outside the school also, wanting to see their children. And I'll never forget when we finally got out of the school, hugging my father and just how terrified he was and how relieved he was when he finally saw me and was able to embrace me. But
notice so far she's tap danced around like, what did the cops do? Did they come in and help? Did they keep the parents from coming in? What? She's like not really drawing any meaningful parallels. She's just saying like
she's telling her own story.
It's pap to say to be asked for commentary on like school shootings, and your thing is like your insight from your experiences. It felt so good to get out of the shooter school to my parents. It's like, yes. I mean, like if you're just here to just like share your story, that makes sense to me. But supposedly you're here to provide some kind of like political commentary and insight, and I would guess advocate for. She is advocating for.
Well, she's advocating for guns.
For
in
just
schools.
just more guns.
She's
everywhere.
like, how dare our school be a gun-free zone? Because when there was a gun in there weren't more guns in there. Ah.
Yeah, saying like it felt good to be hugged by your parent and no longer under the threat of a shooter is like, yes, obviously. How is this relevant?
Yeah. And obviously, like, that's a horrible thing, and it's horrible that happened to her and the rest of her school.
It is horrible happening to her, but at this point of her, now that she is who she is and has lived the life that she has, I don't feel bad for her at all.
I don't feel bad for her specifically.
Yeah, if I'm being honest about like her going to that shooting, going through that, I mean, maybe like I feel bad that might have been what broke her brain and made her into this horrible, crazy poison joke person. But like, I guess the thing is like for any human being, we only have so much compassion to dole out to some extent. I mean, I guess in another way, I feel like love is infinite to some extent, but it's also like we only have so much bandwidth in our perceptive existential world, and I don't have any, like, there's so many more, the kids who just went through this shooting, like, I got no space for Marjorie Taylor Greene 20, 30 years ago.
Who is in power
Yeah.
and has
And
the
is making it
power
worse.
to influence whether this shit happens again.
Yeah.
And she's actually giving us anti-advice.
There is literally already blood on her hands. She's already been in government for a while now, and she has staunchly, the whole time, consistently worked to keep the country more dangerous in terms of gun stuff. So,
God, I hate this bitch.
how can I feel bad for that she went through that? It's like, well, it seems like you kind of deserved it. If you're the person making this shit happen.
It's,
Like, retroactively, she didn't deserve it at the time. She was just a kid. But, like, now it's like, fuck you.
I just, yeah. And this, like, whole, like, it's, the empathy in me wants to feel horrible for her.
Mm-hmm.
And the logical part of me knows that I, like, can't. And the logic is taking over, where I'm like, this is a person who deserves no empathy. And for her to come on here and be like, empathize with me. I was a victim of this. Therefore, I am qualified to be making these decisions to make it worse.
It's gross.
It makes me want to vomit.
Really gross.
It makes me want to puke. But anywho's.
Here's a situation.
Yeah,
Chase down
Ragnats.
kids from the Florida school shooting. Cool. That's right.
Yeah, she was calling them crisis actors, right?
Fucking psycho.
Piece of shit.
It's the gun-free school zones, Tucker. Those are the biggest problems.
Tucker.
And we have to return schools and
The gun-free school, and it's just like, how could that be the biggest problem when, for the period of American history where there were generally no shootings in schools, there were also not guns in schools? It's not like, for like most American history, it was just like, yeah, all the teachers had guns, and then the Dems took the teachers' guns away, and this all started. Like, then it would be like, oh, that's a good argument, but that's not what fucking happened. So, like, what are you talking about?
Nothing. She's talking about nothing. She's talking about nonsense.
Yeah, propaganda.
education back to parents. Parents need to be able to make the choices. And as we've seen from the information and videos...
Return education in school back to parents. What the fuck are you talking about, Marjorie Taylor Greene?
Oh, she's propagandizing.
Parents have never controlled. The whole point of school is to educate people despite their parents.
According to Wikipedia, she went to South Forest High School in Cumming, Georgia. I don't see that on the list of school shootings.
Interesting. It would be quite a bold thing if she's fully lying here. I'm like knee-jerk skeptical.
She's not.
But if she, well, I mean, I kind of hope she is, just so that it would make her look really bad, and it's something she could be, criticized for. But well, let's look it up.
Yeah.
Let's look up specifically school
Wait.
shooting.
Okay.
Forsyth High School in Cumming, Georgia. Some places are named Cumming.
Denmark High School shooting. The Forsyth Denmark High School. That's not it, right? Cumming, Georgia. She said. Also, how old is he? Cumming, Georgia.
This might have been it.
Let's see. An armed high school sophomore held 9 classmates hostage.
Oh, so maybe no one was shot, and that's why it's not on that list.
Yeah, releasing for
But also very, because she's talking about it like it's totally comparable.
No one was injured during the hostage ordeal at the combined South Forsyth High School and Middle School in Forsyth County, about 40 miles north of Atlanta.
So if she graduated in 92, this could have been, well, and does it say
What
Forsyth
year?
High School? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So she's talking about a situation where a person took hostages and then released them, which is
Release them for some candy and soda. He released the hostages for some candy and soda.
So, like, while this is obviously, it's still totally horrible for kids to have to live through a hostage situation, it is not as horrible by a significant degree as it is for kids to have a shooter walking around indiscriminately shooting their friends, watching their friends die, covering themselves in their friends' blood to pretend to be dead to escape the shooter. This is not a comparable scenario at all. And it's really disgusting and disingenuous that Marjorie Taylor Greene is talking about it like she went through something comparable.
Yeah.
It's not at all. This was clear. This sounds, I mean, we need to research more, but this sounds like a person who is just like kind of in a bad mental state.
It said the youth had a seizure last week, Abercrombie said, and another student made fun of him, but police would not speculate on the reasons for the hostage taking. He apparently got super dizzy, and then some people ran out. He was a quiet guy. He has problems and has seizures and takes pills for them. So yeah,
she is implicitly exaggerating what she went through.
yeah, this is fucked up.
Yeah.
The youth demanded the bus to take him to Savannah, and he wanted $3,000 cash.
And that's another thing of like, again, horrible. And in my view, it is much less scary to be dealing with a person who has taken hostages and has demands versus someone who is just there to kill people.
Well, that's, yeah.
Again, these situations are not comparable in terms of the psychological impact.
And she graduated in 1992. Wait, really quick. When did this happen?
90.
90.
So yeah, so it checks out. I think
Okay,
this is-
so she would have been a student.
yeah, I think this
Yeah.
makes sense.
Makes sense. Okay.
Okay,
out
keep bullshitting.
where these parents were held back. And we need to learn more about what's happened and why they were held back. But we saw the reality. Even one of the mothers that was handcuffed, and then once she was freed, she ran in and saved her own 2 children. And if she had gone in with a gun, she would have been committing a federal crime. And it shouldn't be this way at all. We have to repeal the federal law, gun-free school zones.
Wait, no, we don't.
Wait.
Wait. This is bullshit because, like, yeah, I believe that is a violation of a federal law, but no jury on earth
Never.
would convict a mother for
Saving her kids.
running into a school with a gun to save her kids. You don't need a law for that. No jury would ever convict her. You're wasting government time and resources and energy to legislate something that's already covered by the common sense of juries, which most stuff isn't. Like, generally speaking, you can't count on juries for a lot, but like no jury would convict a mom for grabbing a gun and bringing it into a school during an active
Ragnar says
shooter.
white supremacists would convict her because she was a person of color. But
Yeah.
yes, I also don't think white supremacists would be put on that jury.
Well, I don't think it would be enough of a white supremacist jury. And and like, of course, there could be situations. I'm not going to pretend, that it could absolutely never happen. And I think it is highly unlikely. I think any even shitty lawyer would be able to make a case and have that person acquitted.
And do for our children is
And
to
pick the right jury members for that
protect
to
them
happen.
with good guys with guns. And we know the Democrats know how to do that so well.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't seem to be working. We've had it for 32 years. What do you make of liberal Republicans in the Senate, Lindsey Graham, John Cornyn, Mitch McConnell, the head, jumping on board Chuck Schumer's gun control plans?
Yeah, the members of the Uniparty that slither in the Capitol and have been there too long. Lindsey Graham.
The members of the Uniparty? What is this? Can we look up Uniparty? I haven't heard them use this.
Wait, are they calling Lindsey Graham and McConnell liberals? I don't understand what that means. The liberal Republicans like Lindsey Graham and McConnell? Maybe he's saying something that I'm not understanding.
I'm not sure, but what is this Uniparty?
The Uniparty...
Okay. You always have to keep up with the new right-wing buzzwords.
These liberal Republicans. Yeah, that's crazy.
Because if they just kept using normal words, they'd have to admit they're wrong.
Depending on what corners of political journalism you read, blah, 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 blah. This is an orchestrated hit from the Uniparty, Bannon said on Monday in an interview. What is this from? What is the year? 2017. Calling out the Uniparty. I'm just so confused.
Look, Uniparty's latest.
The latest populist buzzword to seize the imagination of the Drain the Swamp crowd, those who see grand conspiracies in the machinations of the deep state and the globalist corporate forces. It has a crisp clarity, instantly conveying the idea of an establishment cabal, Democrat and Republican alike, arrayed against their outsider hero, Donald Trump.
Okay, so it's a term to refer to all politicians who don't like Trump. Now they are a uniparty of baseline, decent, intelligent people. Said it before, I don't say it again. If you respect Donald Trump, you're automatically a moron.
Even
There's
before
no getting out of it.
Nader, the word uniparty occasionally reared its head in American politics to suggest unsavory collusion between Republicans and Democrats. In 1944, a letter surfaced purporting to show that Wendell Willkie, Franklin D. Roosevelt's Republican rival in the 1940 election, was in fact selected by Roosevelt's close advisor, Harry Hopkins. An editorial in a Pennsylvania newspaper warned that the letter, which proved to be forgery, could indicate an attempt to create a uniparty government, totalitarianism in the United States.
Well, then it's so funny. So they're basically just talking about how, like, the two parties are very similar, but they won't actually criticize the right side of it. They just, like, so many little
So
verbal
any Republican
loopholes.
who agrees with a Democrat is in the uniparty.
I think that's their assertion.
Okay.
Yeah.
But what? They're saying Lindsey Graham and McConnell?
I don't know if that
I want to hear that again.
Hear again.
Republicans in the Senate. You know, we've had it for 32 years. What do you make of liberal Republicans in the Senate, Lindsey Graham, John Cornyn, Mitch McConnell, the head, jumping on board Chuck Schumer's gun control?
Yeah, you're right.
He's calling Lindsey Graham and McConnell
He's calling Mitch
uniparties.
McConnell a liberal Republican?
Are you kidding?
That's got to be one of the most insane, wrong things that's ever come out of Tucker's mouth.
You guys
Holy
in chat are hearing
fuck.
this. We're not mishearing this, right? He's calling
No.
McConnell
We
and Graham.
We double checked it.
It's like, this is so off base. It
This is insane.
feels like he's going even crazier because fucking MTG's here.
Yeah.
I feel like he's really pulling out all the stops for his girl Marjorie.
Yeah.
Cause like that's insane even for Tucker to say.
It's wild. That is just
It's insane.
bonkers.
It's insanity.
Bonkers claim.
Bonkers.
Plans.
Yeah, the members of the Uniparty that slither in the Capitol and have been there too long. Lindsey Graham, who just not too long ago was calling for the assassination of Vladimir Putin and can't wait to send our young men and women to war in some far-off land called Ukraine that hardly any American can find on the map. He's the same.
Are they against Lindsey Graham now? Because great. I
hate him too.
I love right wingers infighting. I want them all to rip each other's throats out and end the conflict for us.
Fascists never get along with each other.
Right? Yeah. No, I mean you can always count on fascists to stab each other in the back. It's one of the only good things about fascists.
An itch that I can't reach. Oh, I got it.
Nicely done.
Cool.
But yeah, holy shit.
This is insane.
I hope, yeah. But I feel like what's actually going to happen is that they're just going to shit on Lindsey Graham right now, and then like a week from now, he'll be like, Lindsey Graham said something I like.
He'll say something fucking racist,
Lindsey
and they'll
Graham's
be
so
like,
great.
woo!
Yeah, and they'll be like, woo, Lindsey Graham, thank you for being racist, woo.
But also, the fact that she just fucking said a far-off land called Ukraine that no one can find on a map. Are you kidding me? Is this a joke? Is she kidding? This is insane.
Yeah, and of course, not presenting any of the context of how like the stability of Europe threatens the stability of the U.S. and that.
No, because she doesn't read. She doesn't know.
Yeah.
She was elected to lead, not to read.
Whatever.
Guy that's willing to pass red flag gun laws that will undoubtedly lead to taking away firearms from veterans because of they may have PTSD from all these foreign wars that he's voted for and funded for years now. Yeah, these are the problem people in the Republican Party, and this is what's coming for them. They found out, hearing from people all over the country, how angry Americans are at the $40 billion that they sent to Ukraine because Americans don't want a war. We want our country fixed. And if they vote for gun control, they're going to find out big.
And again, it's just this thing with right wingers of how they cherry pick which government spending to get their panties in a twist about. And it's insane. Like if $40 billion is spent on all kinds of things by the government that are so stupid, like mostly blowing money on defense spending to build warehouses filled with fighter jets that we'll never use. It's just so disingenuous.
She's also talking in a circle, and Ragnat's just said the same thing that I was going to bring up. She essentially said...
That's, totally
She
Ragnat's.
essentially said Lindsey Graham voted for these wars to happen, which was bad.
Mm-hmm.
Lindsey Graham wants the guns taken away from people with PTSD because they might be dangerous, but they only have PTSD because of the wars that he voted for, because it's bad.
Mm-hmm.
So this is like a cyclic thinking. Like, I'm not understanding what her point is. Mm-hmm. So the war was bad, so they have PTSD. And she thinks they should still have guns, even though they have PTSD, because the war was bad and they shouldn't have been there, so the PTSD doesn't count.
Yeah, she just doesn't ever make any kind of sense.
She's just saying, like, words, and I think she doesn't hear herself talk.
Yeah.
Time. That's not what Republicans want from their Republican leaders.
Yeah, let's send automatic weapons to untrained Ukrainian civilians, but take your guns away. Makes sense.
That's right.
Congressman Marjorie Taylor Greene, thank you.
Are you saying that we're all trained?
Are you saying that a war zone is comparable to America today? You're saying it's the same thing, giving people who are in the middle of a war, who are outmatched, who are invaded, giving them guns to defend themselves is comparable to Americans having guns to go to the shooting range and fantasize about shooting a burglar someday. Like, what?
Holy fuck.
Again, the victim complex.
Look at this fucking smile. She's fucking cheesing right now.
The victim complex of right-wingers is bottomless. She honestly sees American right-wingers who might someday have less right to buy unlimited assault rifles and do whatever, that's the same amount of suffering as Ukrainians in a war being invaded by a fascist government.
He's a horrible person, and everything he says is wrong and bad.
Yeah, and she's a horrible person, and everything she says is wrong and bad. And they're just two horrible people who are a blight on the world.
Wait.
And if both of them never spoke again, it would only make the world a better place.
Absolutely. These look like fake teeth, just want to say.
I do think she has fake teeth. Yeah.
They look like fake teeth. Who knows? Maybe she did a bunch of drugs and all her teeth fell out.